Well, we finally tied up in Bangkok, and we were getting ready to stay for a long time. We got the word we were going to be here for a while, so we're going to make plans for a long stay. We just wanted to go out and find us a good-looking woman and shack up. So we went ashore and went to the Seamen's Club, which you can see the messman and I are down here doing our karate thing that we used to do on the ship all the time. We go out there and practice our karate. Here we staged this. You can tell it was not real. It was just something someone wanted to take a picture of us because they'd seen us doing it out on the deck. We became pretty good friends. He was a half black, half Japanese, and we both spoke a little Japanese, so we got along pretty good. And later, I ran into I guess it was George and Bob. They were headed to town same time I was, so we both went out and hit all the bars on the strip, and that's where all the GIs were, and they had all these go-go dancers and plenty of drugs, booze, you name it. It was all out there. Man, I'm telling you, Benny boys, queers, everything. That was a sex paradise, man. That was R&R personified. And they had all these massage parlors. A lot of GIs call them the jack-off parlors. And so I decided I'm going to get a hotel and stay out in a nice area of that part of the world and maybe pick up a fine girl. So I didn't take any of the girls in the bars. Well, I did one or two, I guess, at the first 2 nights here. I may have. And they weren't that expensive because they were GIs, didn't have that much money, I guess, but they were blowing it like they did. So we went I went by myself, I guess, to this bar at this fancy, the Grand or something hotel it was called, and there's a lot of foreigners there because they're the Asian Games, and plus Japanese, Koreans, and all type nationalities, mainly East, because the East was having the Asian Games going on, so there was Chinese and everything in there. And so I met this one girl, and she lived in Bangkok. She worked there, so I ended up hitting it off with her. We went to bed, this hotel room I had, and she suggested, why don't I just stay with her since I'm going to be there a while and live with her and her dad and her kid, and she could work in the day and she'd come home at night and we could go out and do whatever we wanted to do. And I said, that sounds fine. So that arrangement worked. It worked super. I stayed there a month nearly, and it was enjoyable, very, very enjoyable. So I watched kickboxing with the old man. He couldn't speak a bit of English. He couldn't even speak French, I guess. I couldn't hardly communicate at all with him. We had to do hand signals and talk about things like they want something to drink or something like that. We'd signal him. It was a pretty good deal. He worked out really. He was up in age, so anyhow, I got bored, and as it gets to be, and I started just touring around, going out different places at a time. I'd go to the bike races, and I'd go to the other games that they had in the Asian Game, track events mainly, and gymnastics. I was a little bit like gymnastics, but mainly the velodrome, because I had raced velodromes in Japan for years, so. And that's me on my Fuji up there in that corner. You can see it. That was at the trials at the Venice, California. I was going for the Pan Am Games and then the Olympics. But got disqualified because I was registered as a pro over in Japan, so they don't allow you if you ever do it for money. So that killed my ambitions to ever cycling for a living. Or for amateur racing. The day I got back on ship, it was about, I'd been off the ship nearly a week and a half. Jesus, felt like a stranger. I finally had to change clothes and wash and everything, because I had been washing my clothes and they were wearing out. I didn't have spares, but I finally changed clothes, got some decent American food out of, they were still serving food. The cooks were cooking for the mates and all, and what crew was sticking around in the black gang, so, and the deck maintenance was still working, so, but we had a gang of gooks working for us. We were paying them about $4 or $5 a day again to do our work, and the deck maintenance guy was running the crew. Yeah, I met Bob and George, and they had done about the same thing. They were shacked up with two girls, and they asked me if I wanted to go out to PX. They were shopping for furniture. I said, "You're kidding me? You shopping for furniture?" They said, "Yeah, I think I'm gonna stay here." Bob was telling me, and Bob and I knew each other from San Francisco. I knew his family. I used his car to go get my damn driver's license over in Daly City there, and so it felt funny that he was gonna get married over here and leave that. His wife's making good money working with a telephone company. I couldn't friggin' believe it. So we went to PX and he's out there with his girlfriend there. I can't stand it because I'm watching this guy spend this money on all this furniture. Jesus. What's he gonna tell his old lady? He was an oiler on the ship. He worked in a black gang. He didn't make much more than we did as ABs. But anyhow, the Nicaraguan's doing about the same thing, except he wasn't as crazy. He was just buying a ring to get married. He wasn't buying furniture and all that, refrigerators and things. So we stayed on base a little while, went out to the NCO club, had a couple of beers, and then we came back to the ship, and then went back to our places we were living with these girls on. And next day I was back. Well, it's been about 2 weeks that we've been ashore, and came back, changed clothes again, and I went to a snake farm that I heard about. I'd went on my own, and I met the guy that owned it. And when I was out there looking around at all different snakes he had, and these pens, and these glass cages, and whatever, and we got to talking. He was working over by an area outside of the normal pedestrian viewing area where the tourists came in and walked in these paths and all that. And we got talking, and he noticed I wasn't scared of snakes, and because he was pointing them out, lifting them up, and he had a king cobra there that they'd injured. He was showing me the neck, and I thought he was going to hand me the goddamn snake there for a minute. The way he hooked it and brought it up there, I said, Jesus Christ. Yeah, I don't mind a little bit of getting close to it, but not that damn close. Anyhow, he had vipers, showed me some hellacious poisonous vipers like the bamboo viper, this little green snake that looked like I don't know, I guess they call it carrot or something like that. That thing was super poisonous, like a coral snake. It has a neurotoxin or some sort. Anyhow, we became good friends, talking snakes and drinking beer in his house there, and came back a couple of times just to visit, talk to him because I liked the guy a lot, and he asked me to go snake hunting with him. They were going out for a couple of days here in another week, and if I wanted to go, we could go out there. And I just passed on that one. I didn't want to go out in no damn jungle, stomping through that crap out there and getting leeches and all that on me anymore. So one day I came back by. I was going to go to see my girl, but because I'd only had a short time, so I came by and just going to say hi and goodbye because I don't think I'd be back. And while I was there, he said, "We got a new python in. We're going to be shipping to Dallas or in Texas somewhere at a zoo. You ought to carry it over to the crate for me." I said, "Sure." But this sumbitch was heavy. Boy. These two other Thai guys, they put that snake around me because they took two of them to lift it. That thing had to weigh 150 pounds. They wrapped that thing around me, and you can see it in the picture, but it was trying to get away, and I'm holding that thing up. I mean, it took all the strength I had to hold that sumbitch. That thing was strong. It felt like steel rolling around, flexible steel, just moving around my body, and it just a little skin over steel, if you can imagine that. I mean, it was strong. That was solid muscle. Everything in it was muscle. And it could have crushed me with no problem. Well, 3 wraps, you're done. That thing would kill you. And lucky it just ate. So anyhow, I took the thing back to the cage where he wanted it, and they took it off and laid it in there. I said goodbye. That was it. Another day or two later, it was a weekend, and the girl and I went and met Bob and decided we'd go out to the zoo and see what the zoo looked like. So we took off and went out to the damn zoo. Well, out at the zoo, we went up. These cages, you could walk right up to the bars. If you want to stick your hand there, you could if you're that stupid. I mean, them animals could bit your hand off. That was how close. They didn't have any barrier between you and the damn animals. Well, anyway, I was up next to the monkey cage, and I saw this little bitty monkey. He was the cutest hell, man. And I'm telling you, he was sitting there in the corner next to the concrete and bars. And I reached in and pet him. And he grabbed my finger with his little hand, and they were those cute little black hands. I mean, they were just cute as hell. And he gripped me. And man, I mean, he started hurting. The guy had a muscle. Man, that guy had a grip, but you wouldn't believe. And they were saying, let's go, let's go, let's go. And I said, I will. And I'm trying to peel his little fingers off my finger, you know. And Jesus, he won't let go. And he started, when I went to pull it away, his little arm came through the bars, and he started screaming. And I mean, that monkey scream scared the hell out of you. And then all of a sudden, the whole damn cage was going ape shit. They thought I was killing this monkey. And I mean, all the big monkeys, little monkeys, like monkeys are running around screaming and hollering. And I'm trying to get this little monkey's hand off my finger. And my girlfriend and Bob did. They just ran away. They left me there by myself with all these screaming monkeys. And I don't know what the hell I'm going to do. I think I could cut this fucking guy's hand. If I'd killed that monkey, they'd have shot me. Yeah, I finally pried his damn little hand, his fingers off my knuckle, off my finger rather, little finger. And I ran away and looked for them. I finally found them. And we went toured through the rest of the zoo. She was so embarrassed because I did that. It was unreal. Well, anyhow, we went back and I had to get back to the ship and get something else at night. And I went back there and I got a bite to eat. And I was sitting in that damn mess hall by myself, and a mate come down, chief mate, and said, we got to kick the jumbo out. Jumbo boom, we got a load in the bottom of the hole. We got to get up out of there. And I said, okay. And so I got my gear on for working, and I put my safety belt, not my safety belt, but my tagline. That old Chris, that old Kanaka told me back years ago about climbing, especially at night, tie yourself off up there because you never know and you're going to misstep. And they didn't issue safety belts back in them days at all for going aloft. You're about 30 or 40 feet off the deck, you know. So I went up to the cross tree, and I'm up there, and I get over the railing because I got to go out on the cradle. It's got the jumbo strapped in. And meantime, I'm out there, and I tied off on the rail with a clove and a half hitch, and reached around, pulled the pin on the strap, threw the strap off to the side, and the boom was standing static because it's standing straight up in the air. And the best way to actually kick it out is actually have the operator, winch operator, jerk on the pull line, you know, and jerk it back and snap it out. And sometimes it'll fall out. Sometimes you had to kick it, literally kick it on your foot, kick that sumbitch out of there. But it's pretty heavy, man. I'm telling you, that blocking on them topping blocks are just unbelievably big. I mean, they're about a 4 shib, and they're about 30-inch diameter, and about 24 inches wide, 4 big shibs, 3/4 cable. That thing was big. And the fall ran down in a slot on the back of the cable between the boom and the cradle. There was a notch in the cradle that the falls went through, the line went through down to the winch. So I'm reaching over to yell at this guy, and of course the cargo lights are on, and he's blind. He can't see me up there. So I went to reach around off the cradle, off the edge here, to yell at him, and he jerked it. And that damn fall snapped up against my head, knocked me off the damn cradle. And I mean, they knocked me out. All I saw was stars. I woke up, I was hanging upside down. Well, I wasn't upside down, on my side in midair. banging up against the tree. And I'm thinking, what the fuck? I climbed back up, got on there, and I had a headache, but boy, in a knot on the side of my head. But I made it down, and thank Chris, because I'd have sure been a dead gum bitch if it hadn't been for him, I tell you. Because nobody ever issued them damn safety lines. That's something they should have done years ago. But it was fortunate I had it tied off right. So we made it, and then we went back downtown and had a fun evening. And it's just about 3 weeks now, 4 weeks we're into this thing, and I've still been going to the games. I've been going to a lot of the gymnasts and things like that, and met a few people I've met every now and then at different events over and over again. That was kind of fun doing that. And then I'd meet some of my crew, the older guys, would be staying at this Seamen's Club out there that had a swimming pool, which you can see down there with my buddy, the messman, the karate boy, and I. And that was one time when we were there. They wanted to get a picture of us, somebody did, of us doing our eighties or whatever you want to call them. You know, we were doing practice because we used to go out on the hatch when good weather, and we'd go out there and do our forms and do our karate crap. And of course, living in Japan 4 years, I had so much karate. It was unbelievable, and jiu-jitsu and things of this nature. And he was Japanese black. He was half breed, and we got along good because I spoke Japanese, and he did a little too, so we got along good. And he kept me in shape. He was a damn good karate person, very good. I don't know, I guess he was American style because he had a black belt or something. And I never had any belts. They didn't give us belts in Japan. When I was there in the 50s, it was you just gradually kept going. You kept building yourself up to different grades, but it wasn't American style. Anyhow, we had that photo taken at that Seamen's Club. And I found out later from them, the ABs there, that we're going to be leaving for Sada Hip in about a day or two. And if I see George or Bob and them, tell them. I said, okay, I sure will. So I went back to ship anyhow that night because I was wanting to find out more about it. Got a hold of the mate and found out, yeah, we're definitely leaving. It might be tomorrow. I said, oh shit. So I ran back in town, got a hold of Bob and Jordan, told him, got to be back to ship tonight, man, because that thing may leave in the morning. I don't know what time. The mate wasn't sure either. They get finished unloading tonight. We got to carry another load. There's another hole we got to empty down there at Sada Hip. So I went back to ship, said goodbye to my girl, and said I'll try to come back up if I can, because we're only going down to Sada Hip about 60 miles, or it might have been farther, down the south. So next morning we took off, went down, dropped the hook, went ashore. It was an army base. A launch came out and got us, took us out to a wharf, and we ran in, got on the army base, and walked down a gravel path, go about all these damn tents built up on platforms, and I guess the snakes are bad down there too. They were worried about snakes. They didn't stay on the ground. They'd stay up in the air. And same with the PX. They had a little commissary and a snack bar-like thing with a PX there too, and some goods, shaving stuff, mainly essentials. And we went in town, and there was a couple of bars. We didn't go in them. They just looked too run down, and I didn't feel like screwing off right now. I was more interested in getting a cab or something going back up to Bangkok, because we were going to be there a couple of days unloading that one hold. So I was walking by and I saw a motorcycle shop. I went over by the spike, and he had about 3 or 4 Hondas, swole 450s out in front. And I was looking at him, and he asked me, "You want to rent one?" And I said, "Yeah, sure. Heck yeah, I'm trying to get to Bangkok." He told me the price, and it sounded reasonable. I said, "Hell yeah." So I went back to ship, got money, got some gear and stuff ready, came back. And George, I was leaving, going to gang. Where are you going? I'm going to Bangkok. He said, hell, I want to go too. And I said, well, come on, you can rent a motorcycle and go. I never rode no motorcycle. I said, well, I'll show you if you want to learn as fast as I can. And he said, okay, let's go. So he got his stuff, and he came out, followed me up there, and we went in and rented these 2 motorcycles. Well, I got mine cranked, ready to go. But at first I showed him how to go through the gears. You had clutch, brake, things like that, just general stuff. And I said, if you can ride a bicycle, you can drive this, so there's no problem. So we take off down the road, and he's winding up. He won't shift gears. I'm screaming at him. And this damn motorcycle's so friggin' loud, he could hardly hear me. And I kept signaling down, pointing to my foot, pull up, on the gear. So he yanked up, and it went in neutral, and it revved even louder. Now it said, pull the clutch, dumb shit. So he pulled the clutch and put it in gear. And off we go. And he was getting farther behind because wouldn't shift gears. And I wasn't going to wait on him. Jesus Christ. And he was only doing 10, 15 miles an hour in first or second gear. And so I was doing about 30 or 40, so I got way ahead of him. So I had to go out in this little town. And this town was just for a bridge that went over a small river. And the river, on the other side of the river, off to the left, as a road sweep to the left, there was a cane patch. That was about 6, 7 foot high canes. You could see the top of the cars coming around the corner, and then when they come around the corner, you could see them. But before they entered the cane field, there was a rice paddy. And that rice paddy, you could see the whole car coming down the road, and it'd go behind the rice paddies and then come facing in towards you and go over the bridge. Well, George is coming from the other direction. He's coming from the south, so I'm looking back down there waiting on him to come. And I'm sitting on the side of the road, sitting back on the bike, and he rode right by me, and I'm yelling at him. I guess he looked like he didn't look side left or right. He looked straight ahead. He didn't see a peripheral vision or anything. He was in a tunnel vision. He flew by me and never even noticed me. And I yelled at him. I blew the horn and everything. So I cranked the damn motorcycle. And I started getting up to the bridge, and I saw a car coming. And he was passing a truck just on the curve up there, the sweeping car. I saw him pull out in the passing, and he disappeared behind the canes. And all of a sudden, I see his feet, and then I see his head. And then I see his feet, and that's the last time I saw him. And I looked out in front, and motorcycle going down the road on the other side, wiggling, and it finally peeled off into the rice paddy and stopped out in the middle of that rice. I mean, it went way out there in that rice paddy. And so I got around the corner, and there's George running down the side of the road. Running down the side of the road, chasing that motorcycle, And he ran out into all that shit and mud and crap and trying to get that motorcycle up and out of there. I pulled over, and a truck had stopped too. And one of the natives there, one of the Thai guys, stopped to see if we need help. And I asked him if he had a rope, and he did. He had a rope, so gave it to George. I told him, tie off the motorcycle, and I'll pull you out. So he tied off his motorcycle, and I tied it to mine, and I pulled him while he pushed, and we got it out of there. And I had to drag him down the road about, I guess 2 or 3 miles. And mud was flying all over him, me, everything. All over the road. It was just going up the air 10, 20 feet. God damn, mud all over. Got him up there in that little village. We thought we'd get a hose or something we could spray it off. Well, nobody had a damn hose, but we got a bucket, and we went to that creek and dipped water, and we came over there and kept throwing water on it, and finally got it cleaned enough. And I had to clean my bike and me too. I had mud all over me. And I had a little sake bar, as I call it, but it was a native area where they could drink their wine and eat rice and fish. And I went in there and had a little air wine, some sort of rice wine. And he was getting dried off, cleaned up, washed a little bit. We had a towel the guy gave us, He took off. He said, "I'm going back. I can't keep going," because we weren't even a third of the way there, and it was already getting 6:30 or 7. It was getting twilight. It was getting into the dark. So I guess he made it all right, but I'd had to go on. So I took off, hauling ass towards Bangkok. Roads weren't well marked, but good sense of direction. I knew how to drive it. Hell, I'd lived in Japan so damn long. This just felt like home though here. So going down the damn road, I guess isn't that funny how you do these things? Instinctively, I decided I was going to ride on the right. I was on the left side, and just when I turned, I mean, I could feel the thing. I went by a pole, telephone pole, within inches of my head. I mean, I just about fainted. I couldn't believe what just happened. And I got going down the road and I kept shaking my head. God almighty, did you see what just happened? And there was a damn trailer full of damn telephone poles parked on the side of the damn road. No lights, no warning. Well, that's typical over there. But anyhow, made it to Bangkok that night. Stayed a couple of days with that girl. Had fun, drinking and doing whatever we did. And said goodbye after a day or two. And I started back, and it was a fun trip back. Gee, I got water buffalo, and it was daytime. Got to see all the sights. Some things scared me because I looked at the road, and the edge of the road just fell off into creeks and crap and swamp. And Jesus, it's amazing I made it without having more accidents or something. So I made it back to the ship. Got to Bapasan, gave back his motorcycle. And he never said anything about George, but that's been a couple of days. And I got back to the ship and got in the gangway and got back down to the head folks when George caught me. Said, "Did you make it?" And I said, "Yeah, I should. You should have come on. It wasn't bad at all. I had enjoyed the couple of days up there. It was better than being down here." He said, "Yeah, it's been boring as shit down here." So he and I were sitting on the deck. He was smoking a cigarette. He said, "Hell, let's go swimming. Jesus Christ, it's hot as hell here." Hey, it's a good idea. So we got in shorts and walked down the gangway and dove in and swam around out there. I ain't forgot about them snakes and things out there. Sea snakes. Anyhow, we were swimming around though. George yelled at me, "Ah, damn, did you feel that?" I said, "No, what?" He said, "Something just big just hit me." And he started off swimming. Well, this thing swam by me, and I mean the water moved me. The pressure of the water actually moved me, and I could see this object, and it was big. The best I can figure it was a tiger shark. And so I started swimming, and I passed George, and he panicked, and he started swimming faster. And when I got to the gangway, I'm halfway out of the water on the gangway, and he's coming up my back. I mean, he was swimming up the gangway, man. He was like a windmill. He was crawling and flying up the damn gangway. And I was starting to panic because my legs are still in the damn water, you know. Anyhow, I got out of there, didn't get bit, thank God. And that was the last time I went in that ocean, man. I guarantee you, boy, that was a big ass shark. So we made it out of here. We're gonna leave next day or so and head for either. They said we're going to Pusan, but hell, we've been on this ship too long, and I think most we could be on a ship is 6 months. I think that's all the articles, foreign articles, when you sign on, was allow us to stay out of the States. Whereas we had to be back in the States in 6 months, or we had to get flown back, or if we stayed on the ship, we got some bonus, I guess. But anyhow, whatever worked out. We'll find out when we leave here. You guys take care, and we'll catch you on the next trip, because wherever this thing goes, we'll be there. Take care now, boys.